Subway presents NASCAR Nextel Cup Series racing on NBC from Phoenix International Raceway. Threatening weather after early morning rain, yes, in the desert. We could see another shower later today, so we're already under green, and Ryan Newman has led all of the 18 laps so far. He's out in front of Casey Kane, Brian Vickers, Tony Stewart, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., who moved up into the top 5.
Yeah, Junior's passed a couple cars in the last couple laps. He's got by Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon, so he is moving forward.
And the last time by, the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. showed the fastest lap of all the cars in the top 5.
There's Junior, started 14th up to 5th. Remember, he's the defending winner here at Phoenix.
Right on board. Here we go into turn 3. You see Junior, he stays down on the bottom like we talked earlier. That's the best way around 3 and 4. If you can stay down there, you make a lot of time up on your competitors. Go in turn 1 hard, get on the brakes hard, get off the brakes as fast as you can. And again, if you can stay on the bottom, he clips the apron, hard on the gas. Car looks like it's working very well.
And clipping that apron down in 1 and 2 is exactly where Truex yesterday made up all of his time, how he got his car to run so fast.
Another guy that's on the move, Elliott Sadler in that 38 car.
Oh, and he slides up into Jeff Gordon. There again, we talked about that earlier. If you drive in hard into turn 3 and you're on the bottom, you got to be careful you don't slide up into the guy on the outside. That's exactly what happened to Jeff Gordon.
Casey Mears, Kevin Harvick, who's that? McMurray, 42, going all the way onto the apron.
McMurray in that 42 car won the NASCAR Busch Series race here yesterday afternoon. He and Kyle Busch had a terrific race. He's about to lose a spot now. McMurray is too.
Boy, Jeff Gordon is just not able to hold the bottom, and he's sliding up and really jamming all these guys up behind him.
Man, this is a great battle.
Matt Yoakum, what about Joe Nemechek?
Well, back on lap 12, Joe Nemechek was running in the 5th position. Came on the radio, so the car is starting to get tight. A few laps later, so the car is really getting tight. They told him to let a few cars go by to try to get some fresh air on that nose, but he is fading quickly, guys.
Well, when you let one guy go by, what are you going to do with the rest 5 or 6 that's crowded all around you?
Nemechek started 3rd. He's about to be back to 12th position as McMurray goes by him. Make it 13th. Here comes Kenseth in the 17.
See the 29 car, and we talked about clipping the apron of the racetrack. He has decided that his car, the 29 of Kevin Harvick, runs better up high on the racetrack, and that's something that you like to see. That tells you you're going to have pretty exciting racing before the day is over.
This racetrack is so much fun to race on for these guys because you can do just that. You can race on it.
So Harvick hunting for a groove to make his car work. I'm impressed with Jimmy Johnson moving through this whole group of cars. VP and Wally started 13th. He's up to 8th and climbing.
And I got to think Jeff Gordon's car is just really, really tight right now, just because he keeps clipping that apron, trying to get the car to turn, trying to get it a little bit sideways. Looks to me like he's really struggling right now keeping that car down.
McMurray under Harvick. I guess that outside lane isn't helping a lot either, huh?
No, it sure isn't.
I really think you've got to be on the bottom if you're going to be fast here. If you can stay on the bottom, that's the way to go. Bill Weber.
Wally, Matt Kenseth trying to move up through the field. Won here in 2002 in chassis number 23. This is the chassis that ran so well the last time we were at Richmond. He led 60 laps. Remember what happened there? They left the wedge wrench in the rear of the car. They lost 2 laps on pit road. But Robbie Reiser feeling much more confident about his car and his chances today than he was before last week when they had a dismal finish to that race in Atlanta. Ended up in the garage.
Looks like Kevin Harvick better get down to the bottom, BP, because he is losing some ground up there in 1 and 2.
And Jimmy Johnson is rolling.
Harvick looks like he can't keep his car down either.
He is about to lose another spot to the 16 of Greg Biffle.
Biffle, that's another guy, BP, that's really moved up some since he started the race. He started 23rd. And what of Kurt Busch?
Let's see, where's our Nextel Cup leader? There he goes, right behind Jeff Green.
16th spot right now.
It's not bad.
Marty, how about Kurt?
Yeah, I would tab it as steady progress for Kurt. He's a little tight in and loose off the corners. He tries to go by Jeff Green. And you know, Wally, when you go in the corner, that car is tight. You want to crank that wheel down, sometimes you crank it so much, it makes the car loose off the corner. That's the situation for Kurt Busch right now.
Yeah, that's what happens is, you know, you're trying to turn the car and you get through the center of the corner and you've got that steering wheel turned so much. Now you got to get on the gas and you're turned so much and the car starts turning when you're on the throttle, it snaps sideways. And boy, that's a workout.
Is that what happened to you yesterday?
I was doing it all. I was swatting flies and bees all day inside my car.
Battle for the third spot is 8-car Junior. Goes by Brian Vickers. Man, Junior's going somewhere. Matt.
BP, the car just a little bit on the tight side, but like we talked earlier, won here last year 7 times this season. When Junior's had a bad race, he's backed it up with a top 5 finish the very next week. He's trying for number 8, Dave.
The 12 car of Ryan Newman has been having communication problems. Somebody's radio hung open. Everyone in the pit raises their hand to say, my radio's not on. When they determine where it is, they tell that guy to get his hand off the button. Well, they couldn't find it. So they looked around for it, tried to send someone down to the other Penske cars, see if a guest had one on, or maybe even owner Roger Penske. They finally gave up and said, switch to channel 2. Then they had to do a radio check with everyone. The last guy who finally switched to 2 was a spotter, Aaron Oakley, and now everyone can hear.
And that's very distracting when you're driving and you've got that button that it's keyed and it's open and all you hear is all kinds of sounds and stuff and you're trying to concentrate on driving and you're hearing all this distraction in your ears and it really is a pain in the neck.
Todd Bodine has gone to the garage. First retiree from the race. Ryan Newman continues to lead. He's in front of Casey Kane by nearly 2 seconds. NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing from Phoenix, presented by Subway, is brought to you by Subway. It's what to eat when you want to eat fresh. Subway, eat fresh. By Capital One, what's in your wallet? By Goodyear Assurance, featuring triple tread technology. And by Nextel Coast to Coast Walkie Talkie. Nextel, done.
NBC Sports camping out in the desert this weekend for NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing presented by Subway, already with 38 laps on the board. Threatening conditions prompting an early start to this race. But Ryan Newman was ready, a fast car out in front from the pole. Let's take you through the field, starting with Dave Burns.
With radio problems fixed, Bill, Ryan Newman has communicated to his team that upon entering the corner, the back end wants to come around a little bit, then it tightens up and the front end wants to push toward the wall. Those are not big problems. He still leads the race. Bill?
Dave, extra pressure for Casey Kane in the 9 car today. His dad is on pit road, and for the first time, Casey's grandmother, Beverly Peterson, is seeing her grandson compete in a Nextel Cup car in person. She lives down in Tucson. She calls Casey Kane Little Bit. We'll get some smoke for that. Matt.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., the car still on the tight side. Going into the season, the goal was 5 wins. He's accomplished that. Now everything else is just gravy, trying for his 6th win. Back-to-back here at Phoenix. Battle for second now. Junior trying to score more points, Marty.
Meantime, 21-year-old Brian Vickers started second. Matt, he is back in the 4th position, still trying to mourn from his friend, loss of his friend Ricky Hendrick a couple of weeks ago in that airplane crash. The car tight from the center off for him. It's the same car he started first with at Richmond, led 32 laps, finished 8th that day. Matt. 2002 champ Tony Stewart's also back in this title fight. At one point, he was 246 out. Now he entered today 145. He's a strong closer. 3 wins in his career have come in the final month of the season. He knows he has a shot. He's won here before. Meanwhile, Casey Mears told me today, this is the exact weather conditions he wanted. An overcast day. He said his car was a tick on the free side, Dave, and that's what he wanted. He didn't want it to be sunny.
Jimmy Johnson in 7th trying to run down Casey Mears. He's run down a lot of cars already. Started 13th, has moved all the way to that 7th position. His car just a little bit tight right now. Matt?
Elliott Sadler also in the chase, but deep in the points, running in 8th position. Telling crew chief Todd Parrott, who won here back in 1997 with Dale Jarrett, his car needs more side bite, also needs to be freed up off the corner, Bill.
Matt Kenseth and crew chief Robbie Reiser on that 17 team want to make a statement before the end of the season. Very disappointed with their finish last week. They said it was a part failure that caused that, but they praised the engine work of Doug Yates and the entire Yates-Roush team that has given them awesome power. Robbie called it unbelievable this season, trying to get to the front, Marty.
Bill, just a moment ago, Jamie McMurray was in front of Matt Kenseth. He is slipping back. He started 10th. He's running 10th right now. Car too tight for Jamie, and it's getting worse the longer he runs. Kurt Busch, however, car's getting a little bit better. Remember earlier, we told you he was tight in the corners, loose off. The loose off is now gone. Just a little bit tight getting into the corners for Kurt, who has led the most laps in the last 2 Phoenix races. Bill?
Marty, that 16 car of Greg Biffle just a little bit tight. Talked to the crew this morning. Basically, some guesswork going into this car because of the overnight rain and the clouded conditions. These conditions much more like what they had when they tested here as opposed to what we've seen here this weekend. That could help them, Dave.
Jeff Gordon is going the wrong way, Bill. He started 8th. He is all the way back to the 13th position right now. Mark Martin passes him as well. Jeff's car not handling well. Loose in and off the corner, tight in the middle. Bad all the way around, Bill.
Dave, this morning, as you talked about, Mark Martin very disappointed with his race car, but handling better here. Just a little bit free, Mark, in that chase for the championship, trying to get his first cup, air pressure, and wedge adjustment when Mark pits, Matt.
Joe Nemechek, who won at Kansas with this race car, still tells the team the car is tight, and it shows on the racetrack. He has dropped all the way back to 15th. Meanwhile, Bobby Labonte, he's going in the opposite direction. Start of the day, 27th. He is now all the way up to 16th. They made some minor adjustments this morning. A little shock change for Bobby, trying to get this car back into the top 10. Also, the 43, Jeff Green. That team continues to improve with their qualifying. Start of the day, 12. He just cannot get that car up off the corner. Meanwhile, Rusty Walls, who won here back in 1998 in a rain-shortened event, rarely does Rusty change the race car after practice. If he doesn't do that, that means the car is good. Few minor changes. He says right now, though, the car is tight on entry, loose on exit, Marty.
Matt, this weekend, Robbie Gordon is without crew chief Chris Andrews, who is at home expecting his first child. Robbie started 17th, and Chris, they want you to know the car is getting better the longer they run. Started a little bit loose, car continuing to get better for Robbie Gordon. Scott Riggs having a nice little run. He said he's sliding the nose to the corner. He missed the race last week in Atlanta. He told me on Friday we have extra motivation this weekend to stay focused. He's currently running 20th. Alan?
There are the top 20 of 33 cars that are on the lead lap. Ryan Newman continuing to pace this field. Our next Cup chase fact. We're talking about Mark Martin and the fact that he's moving forward with a pretty good car. The best record here at Phoenix of all the 10 drivers in the chase for the championship.
470 laps. A lot of laps.
That is a lot.
Mark Martin running in 13th place right now. Ryan Newman with Dale Earnhardt Jr. growing larger in his rear view mirror.